But anyway, let's bring on
Without
an awesome
further ado,
organizer and good friend, John Paul Mejia of Sunrise Movement Miami.
We obviously have a lot of big things to talk about, and a lot of people obviously have been frustrated with a lot of the national organizations in terms of the decisions they have been making. But I have to say, and not to butter him up any more than he already gets buttered up by us, he is hands down the best local organizer that I have seen in South Florida, bar none. Yeah. He is the leader of Sunrise Miami. He might as well be ahead of Sunrise South Florida, as far as I'm concerned.
All right, let's give the Broward people some props.
Well, we're trying to build it right now. Yes. So kudos to Brandon for getting it started.
Right, let him tell us.
JP Mejia, welcome to Generational Change. How are you, my friend?
Hey, you two. I'm doing very well. I'm actually not in Miami right now, but I will say I am happy that I am being interviewed by you and not Jimmy Fallon or Bill Clinton to start us off.
Where are you?
Right now, I am in West Philly. I'm actually with a couple Sunrisers right now.
Born and raised on the playground where we're spending most of my days.
So what's going on? What brings you on? What do you want to talk about? Let's hear your story.
Yeah, I mean, there's loads of stuff going on right now, not only in the climate movement, but we've got new allies, both with our Indigenous partners that have worked so hard in ushering in one of the best nominations we've seen so far with Deb Haaland. We've got new partners in labor. We just recently launched our campaign for a federal jobs guarantee along with Sarah Nelson and Representative Ayanna Pressley. And then locally, we have this burgeoning campaign for a Green New Deal that is sort of shifting the whole system's priority of how our community should invest in the face of the climate crisis, which is really awesome. So I'm down to talk. I'm game to talk about whatever y'all want to, but those are a couple broad strokes.
Yeah.
Is there a website or any place that anyone can go to check out Green New Deal?
There isn't a website yet, but you can make sure that you stay updated with everything going down by following Green New Deal on Instagram.
Okay, so perfect. That's what we're talking about.
It's at Green New Deal on Instagram?
Yep, at Green New Deal. So the account is still starting up, but that's where everything will be.
That's awesome. So I also feel a little bit hopeful as far as climate goes, given some of the picks that are going on. Like I've also thought this is kind of a good thing that's happening here. But in terms of what's going on locally and how people can get involved, of course, that's what we always want to talk about and encourage everybody to get involved. So how long are you going to be in Philly?
I'm going to be back in Miami towards the end of April, kicking things off for Earth Day. There's a lot of plans that are happening right now with our mayor, Daniela Levine Cava, who you guys have had on. And she's, has her own sort of office campaign called Thrive 305, in which she's opening an avenue for more regular folks to share their thoughts and ideas of how our local government should govern. And we're making sure that we're uniting the largest possible coalition with people locally who are organizing for housing justice, racial justice, and so on, to talk about climate from that whole system's vision, right? So that's a lot of the work that's happening locally right now.
And I also wanted to touch on what you had said, which is something we always talk about, which is the connection of all of this to the labor community, and how that honestly bridging, if we bring together the people that are like essentially the Greens with the people that are the labor people, with the people that are like the progressive people, that's the part, like that's what we need. We need the labor people to sort of be central in it. And talk a little bit about down here, like if you know of any actions, any things that like people can get involved in, where they can support labor, justice, climate. I mean, it's all intersected.
Right. No, yeah, you're absolutely right. It's all intersected. So Miami is ground zero for the climate crisis, right? We have rising sea levels, intensifying hurricanes that continue to encroach upon our lands and waters. And the due diligence that lies ahead is not only protecting our people, but also reforming our systems entirely to make sure that they're designed around protecting people and protecting the people in places we love, not profiting off of them. So that has large implications that also bring in our friends in the labor movement, right? So when we talk about investing in public transportation to drive down emissions, what does it also look like to have those investments go towards fulfilling the salaries that our like county employees work? When we're talking about rising heat temperatures, how about we think of those who work outside, or those who rely on the county's underfunded public housing, which actually doesn't require AC units? There's loads of stuff that's going on right here. So the Green New Deal, or through Sunrise Movement, or through many other groups like the MCA, Miami Climate Alliance, you can plug in to the connection of groups that are all aligned for this cause to really push forward on what Miami deserves, not only what we want, but what we deserve and need.
Yeah. And I would like to also give a shout out that we do have a lot of things going on in Broward too. We got to give some love to the 954. We have a new Sunrise group. We've had a few setbacks over the course of, a couple of years with getting it, and the loss of our friend Mitchell Stolberg, who was the original Sunrise Movement hub. And there's been a lot of stuff. So they're getting it up and running again. I sat in on their first meeting, which was really cool. They're planning their big Earth Day thing. And so, yeah, we have to give some love to Broward. It's not all about Miami.
Right.
We all have to suffer in this together. So, that's how it goes.
We can all thrive in it together too.
Right. Survive and thrive.
Yes.
You see, this is why we're friends, because I always say survive and thrive, because that's what we're trying to do. Now, in terms of, how we can continue, to build, I think right now, it's after the election. There's a lot of people who are not necessarily enthusiastic about getting involved and things like that. But I do think there are opportunities here for us to build on certain events. I don't know if we've discussed this or not, but we are going to have a beach cleanup that's coming up on not this Tuesday, but the following Tuesday on April the 6th. And I think I posted that in the chat. I think if, the Sunrise Movement wants to join Gen Core for that endeavor, I think we can get a lot of people out. And I think it just becomes sort of a snowball effect. The more people,
Trash and Taco Tuesday.
Well, of course. How could you not like that?
I'll find any excuse to have tacos is really what this comes down to. So
I remember we all the three of us shared tacos one night after that.
So you understand. That's right. And we were like, were we in like Wynwood? Where were we?
We were close.
That was on Biscayne and 63rd.
Okay. Yeah.
That was fun.
All right. So I have a thing about tacos. So the point is, I figure if I like tacos and other people like tacos, we'd clean the beach. We do 90 minutes of beach cleanup, and then we have tacos.
I think we just need to find activities that people find, exciting, and then
fun and social. And I think that makes. I think it's just Plus we give service hours, whatever. I mean, all of that. But I think it's just any opportunity to engage.
I think what we've learned is that a lot of people really don't want to be consumed with politics 24/7.
Right.
And if there's a way to
service,
break away from that. And it's interesting you brought up Sarah Nelson. We're actually trying to get her to come on the podcast. For somebody who's the head of the CWA, it really doesn't get much better than her. I mean, she is out there and she's so enthusiastic and really believes in workers' rights. I haven't seen somebody like that in such a long time. We need those types of leaders like yourself that are enthusiastic, but in a way that isn't, hyper partisan.
Right.
That isn't
it's not
about,
political.
No.
Well, that's why we try to stick with issues.
Yeah. We have a cause. We're trying to work on that. One of the things that I did bring up at the Broward meeting the other day, which I do think would be interesting if this is even something that's been talked about, let's say with Green New Deal, the thing that I think we could do at the local level is a plastic ban. Is that something that's been discussed at all?
Not currently within our hub. However, we know that there are, everyone has a role to play. And when it comes to our movement specifically and Sunrise Movement, we see our responsibility as young people to, in the brand of Sunrise Movement, participate in that political process, right? That's what identifies our group and our DNA. We build people power in order to then build political power. However, there's loads of several groups around Miami that do different things. There's sustainability groups, there's groups that are dedicated to service. And the benefit of having a coalition is that you can delegate tasks and power and constituency to the different places that people want. But what you can all share in common, which is another great part of a coalition, is that, like you said, people don't want to be consumed in politics all the time. But one thing that we cannot escape is our struggles. And by engaging with our community members, by engaging with our neighbors and our loved ones and the people and places we love, we get to talk about our shared struggles as people. You might be oppressed by something, I might be oppressed by something else. You may face a challenge, I might face another. But together, by having those conversations and by creating those spaces, we can create common threads. And when you identify a problem at its fundamental core, you're also able to articulate the scope and scale of the solution that's needed. So that's what these convening spaces and that's what these coalitions are really about. And I'm really glad that Sunrise Broward is now springing up as well, because they seem to be a great ally in this fight.
Yeah, we're always about making connections. I think of it like a spider web, and every time you make another link, it makes it stronger. And it's bringing different groups together. And I totally agree with that. That's what we're trying to do. That's basically our mission.
What can people do to help you continue to build on this movement? In particular, what can people do to help with the concept of the Green New Dade?
Yeah, I mean, it really goes across so many levels and what people can do, right? So one thing you can do is just join our hub. So you can go on sunrisemovement.com. There's a little map there. You can search up Miami, and then suddenly you'll be part of our hub. I'll get an email. We can have a one-on-one, and we'll start finding your role. We'll start developing.
And you'll refer Broward people up to Broward, right?
Right. Broward too. I'm speaking from Miami, but I know we got.
Like if you get some of our people, don't need to steal them. You can feel free to forward them.
No, we're a coalition. We're
okay. I'm just saying. All right.
You're looking for the Broward people.
Yeah, and there's definitely, obviously, we've talked at length about Anna Eskamani, and hopefully, if she does end up running for governor, that would be great. But there definitely is a very big cluster of progressives that are up in the I-4 corridor between Orlando and Tampa, and so continuing to network with people across the state.
Yeah,
we have to have. I think. Say this all the time. Florida really is ground zero for an economic populist uprising,
as well as climate. That's what John Paul was saying. Like, it's ground zero for climate crisis, but we think that it is also ground zero for a real labor change, push.
And I do think that framing it from the same standpoint of, this is a state that frankly should be powered by solar panels. It really should. And there's so much land, protected land, that we could be utilizing, that the state could be utilizing in order to make it so, instead of us having to worry about, the issues with sea level rise and red tide and blue-green algae and all that. So I do think that the more we continue to build these hubs out, I mean, like I said, you guys are doing a fantastic job in Miami, but we obviously have to figure out how we can coordinate, across the entire state. But Green New Dade just works. It's a great marketing concept, a great name, and you're doing an amazing job, man. Anything else that you want to plug, before you head out?
Well, lastly, it's much larger than I am, but you bring up a good point, that we need to build power in our state. Our state is a microcosm for the entire United States. We have every pocket, every sort of person that exists here. And if we're able to model what a fight could look like, what a progressive fight could look like, will suddenly be the emblem of what the progressive movement could be. And the reason we need so much state power is because anywhere from our criminal justice system to the environment, we are facing really big attacks. Right now in the Florida legislature I just said right now twice, 2 bills are being introduced that are called energy preemption bills. And that's a boring name for essentially saying that all the folks who have been bought by utility companies and oil companies, both Democrats and Republicans, are supporting a bill that says municipalities, cities, villages, and so on will not have the right to say what type of energy they will produce, but rather the state, which is, whose officials are bought by oil and utilities, will have that. And that would have immense repercussions on our way out over the next 10 years, which is, we know, that's the scale at which we need to, really mobilize out of this. So get involved in whatever way you can. Join your local hub, be it Broward, Miami, or anywhere else in the United States that you're tuning in from. And this fight is real. This fight is now. And
Yeah.
We're facing a lot of opposition because we're winning.
I agree.
I think we've been given the blueprint, though. I really do. We got the blueprint in Nevada with what they did to take over their state party.
On the political side, it definitely is like something to look at.
And then obviously, over the next few days, it could be a really big moment for the labor movement if the Bessemer, Alabama, Amazon workers are able to unionize. And obviously, as you know, Sarah Nelson is on the ground there. Bernie Sanders is going down there. Not gonna.
He wants me to go, but we'll talk about it anyway. I don't know about that. I don't know that they. I don't have that.
If there's a reason, if they need her there, that would be wonderful.
Oh yes, if they need me, and only me.
Who wouldn't? I really do. Whenever I have to say, it's the highest compliment I could pay to you. Whenever we communicate, whenever we're doing something, I get an amazing sense of optimism. I believe that a lot of positive change can happen because when somebody like yourself is helping lead the charge, it's in the right hands.
Yeah.
And we're going to do whatever we can to work synergistically together to make sure that the Green New Day does well, that Sunrise does well, that GenCore does well. And if we do that, it's going to build out and it's going to be something that's going to be sustainable for a very long time.
Thank you so much for coming on, John Paul.
Thank you so much for convening this space. And I look forward to keep working with you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, brother. Stay safe and we'll be in touch.
Bye, my friend.
Have a good one, guys.
Do the same. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.